The first time I noticed Seek, I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. It started with reflections, mirrors, windows, phone, screens, anything that could bounce my face back at me felt wrong. Not broken, not distorted. Just late. I would smile, and my reflection would follow a fraction of a second afterward. I would turn my head, and it would lag behind, like it needed time to decide whether to copy me or not. I stopped looking at mirrors. That was mistake number one. I worked the night shift at a records storage facility on the edge of the city. No visitors. No coworkers after 9 p.m. Just endless shelves of old files, government junk, sealed boxers, marked with dates no one cared about anymore. I liked the silence. Silence doesn't judge you. My job was simple: patrol, log temperatures, report alarms, and stay awake until sunrise. The building had no windows on the lower floors, just concrete humming lights and long corridors that all looked the same. At exactly 1:11 a.m., every night my phone would lose signal. At 1:13 a.m., the lights would dim for 2 seconds. At 1:15 a.m., the security cameras would freeze. The company said it was old infrastructure. I believed them. Then came 1:17 a.m. That was when I started hearing footsteps. Not behind me. Not ahead of me. Beside me, perfectly matched to my own pace. If I stopped, they stopped. If I walked faster, they did too. But whenever I turned my head, nothing. I told myself it was stress. Too much caffeine, too little sleep. So I started talking out loud. Just to prove I was alone. Real funny, I said one night, my voice echoing off metal shelves. You got jokes now? The footsteps continued, perfectly in sync. Then, softly, someone whispered, "Seek." I froze. The voice didn't come from the hallway. It came from inside my head. I laughed. Too loudly. Too fast. "Okay," I said. "That's new." The whisper came again. Closer. Clearer. "Seek me?" I ran. I didn't know where I was running to. Every aisle looked identical. Every emergency exit further away than it should have been. The footsteps stayed with me, not chasing. Accompanying. Like it was walking with me, I burst into the security office and slammed the door shut. Silence. My reflection stared back at me from the dark monitor screens. Still. Too still. I watched it carefully. It smiled. I did not. I stepped back. The reflection stayed where it was. That was when I realized it wasn't copying me anymore. It was watching. I unplugged the monitors and sat on the floor until morning, knees pulled to my chest, lights blazing, eyes burning. When my shift ended, I quit. I didn't even give notice. I went home, convinced the nightmare would end with the job. I was wrong. Because Seek doesn't belong to buildings. It follows attention. The more you notice it, the clearer it becomes. At home, mirrors covered themselves in condensation, even when the air was dry. My phone camera would open by itself. My dreams filled with hallways that never ended, and something tall moving just outside my vision. Always just ahead, always waiting for me to look directly at it. The whispers returned. Every night. "Seek! Find me! You already have." I stopped sleeping. On the fourth night, I finally looked. Not at a mirror, not at a screen. At the dark corner of my bedroom where the light never reached. Something stood there. Tall, too tall. Its body looked unfinished, like a shadow, trying to remember how to be human. Where its face should have been, there was only movement. Shifting. Searching. When it spoke, my ears bled. "You noticed me?" it said. "Now I exist." I couldn't scream. I couldn't run. All I could do was stare as it leaned closer, its presence bending the air around it. "Most people pass by," Seek whispered. "But you looked twice." Its hand touched my forehead. The room dissolved, and I understood the truth. Seek isn't a monster. It's a process, A thing that happens when curiosity goes too far, when the human mind stares into the wrong gap and refuses to look away. And now it was inside my head, learning how I think, learning how I fear, preparing to step fully into my world. The last thing I heard before everything went dark was its voice, calm and patient. "Good," it said. "Now we can begin." When he woke up, I was lying on my bedroom floor. Daylight streamed through the curtains, but it felt fake too flat, like a photo taped over reality. My head throbbed. For a moment, I convinced myself it was a nightmare. Then I noticed the mirror. It had been turned to face the wall. I don't remember doing that. I stood up slowly, every muscle stiff, and checked my phone. No missed calls. No strange messages. No evidence that anything had happened. But my reflection was missing. Not gone completely, just delight. When I raised my hand, the mirror stayed still. 3 seconds passed. 10 eat, mobid late. Exactly like before. Primera ba, sked Hawaii heart pounding. That was when I realized something worse. The whisper wasn't coming at night anymore. It was constant. Not loud. Not clear. Just a pressure inside my skull. Like someone standing too close behind me. I went outside, hoping noise would drown it out. Traffic, people, sunlight. None of it helped. Everyone looked normal, but they didn't feel present. Their eyes slid past me, never landing fully, like they were avoiding something standing next to me, or something standing inside me. At a coffee shop, the barista handed me my cup and froze. Her smile stayed in place. Her eyes widened. She leaned forward slightly and whispered, barely moving her lips, "Don't look for it." I dropped the cup. Coffee splashed across the floor. When I looked back up, she was normal again. Confused. Asking if I was okay. I left without answering. That night, I dreamed of corridors. Endless white corridors with no doors. Just mirrors. Thousands of them. And in every reflection, Sikh stood behind me. Closer in each one. When I woke up screaming, my bedroom wall was covered in writing. Not carved. Not painted. Pressed into the surface like fingerprints. Dragged through soft clay. "You see me better now." I tore my eyes away and ran to the bathroom. The mirror was uncovered. I don't remember turning it back. My reflection smiled. I did not. It leaned closer to the glass. Then it spoke, not with my mouth, with its own. "You're doing well," Sikh said. "Most break by now." My knees buckled. "What do you want?" I whispered. "To finish?" It replied, "You started it when you noticed." The reflection raised its hand. Behind it, the bathroom wall rippled like skin reacting to a touch. "There are layers," Sikh continued. "You live on the surface. I live underneath. It's ice if they were ice focused on me, and you're tearing the skin." I smashed the mirror. Glass exploded across the sink. The reflection screamed. Not in pain, in delight. That was when the power went out. The apartment fell into darkness so complete. It felt thick, heavy. Something breathed behind me. Slow. Curious. I ran. Out the door, down the stairs, into the street. I didn't stop running until my lungs burned. I ended up at the city library. I don't know why. Maybe because it felt old. Quiet. Safe. I hid in the back, surrounded by shelves, shaking. Hours passed. Nothing happened. For the first time in days, the whisper faded. I found myself in the archives section. Restricted access. Old journals. Personnel logs incident. Reports. One file caught my eye. Sikh phenomena unverified cases. My hands trembled as I opened it. The pages were filled with accounts just like mine. People noticing reflections, acting strange, hearing footsteps that matched their own, whispers urging them to look closer. Every account ended the same way. Not with death, with disappearance. The last entry chilled me to the bone. Subject reports, entity does not chase. It waits to be observed. Full manifestation occurs once subject understands it is being watched back. Underneath, written in a different hand. Once you seek it, it seeks through you. The lights flickered. Footsteps echoed between the shelves. Slow. Measured. Not hiding. I didn't turn around. I already knew. Seek stood at the end of the aisle. Not fully formed, still learning how to exist. Its shape bent the shelves inward, like gravity was wrong around it. You came looking for answers, it sighed gently. That means we're close. My mouth was dry. What happens when you finish? Seek tilted its head. I stopped needing you. Cold terror washed over me. And then, I asked. It stepped closer. Then the whisper became clear. Sharp. Final. Then someone else noticed this. The lights went out completely. The library disappeared. And I felt myself falling inward, into mirrors, into corridors, into something vast and patient that had been waiting far longer than me. Seek's voice followed me down. Don't worry, it said softly. You'll help me learn. I didn't land. There was no ground, no sky. Just movement like falling through thoughts that weren't mine. Images flashed past me. Faces I didn't recognize. Rooms I'd never been in. Mirrors in places mirrors shouldn't exist. Forests, tunnels, empty fields at night. Seek was everywhere. And nowhere. When the sensation stopped, I was standing in my apartment. Everything looked normal. Tout normal. The clock on the wall ticked. Cars passed outside. My body felt solid again. For a brief, dangerous moment, I believed it was over. Then I blinked, and my apartment blinked back. The walls pulsed subtly, like something breathing very slowly beneath them. The shadows didn't match the light sources anymore. They leaned inward, pointing toward me. Toward my eyes. Seek's voice didn't come from behind me this time. It came from my mouth. Don't panic, it said calmly. I slapped my hands over my lips. The voice continued anyway. You're still you, it said. Mostly. I ran to the bathroom. The broken mirror was whole again. Clean. Perfect. And my reflection, it moved before I did. It smiled. I felt the muscles in my face stretch upward against my will. No, I whispered. Seek tilted its head inside the glass. This is the part where people usually scream, it said. You're adapting faster. My hands rose. Not because I lifted them, because something else wanted to see them move. Seek's fingers, my fingers flexed slowly, experimentally. I was still inside my body, but I wasn't alone anymore. That day passed in fragments. I remember walking outside. I remember people staring at me for too long. Some of them flinched when they looked into my eyes. Others smiled back. Those ones scared me the most. At a crosswalk, a child tugged at her mother's sleeve and whispered something. The mother went pale and pulled her away without looking at me again. I caught my reflection in a store window. For just a second, Seek was closer to the surface. Its shape pressed against my skin from the inside, like a face behind thin fabric. That night, I lost time. Hours vanished. I would blink. And suddenly I was standing somewhere else, in the kitchen, in the hallway, outside my apartment building with no memory of walking there. Each time, I felt more distant, like I was watching myself from a few steps behind. Seek spoke gently, like a teacher guiding a nervous student. You're learning how thin things are, it said. Reality? Identity. Distance. What are you? I asked, inside my own head. Seek paused, then answered honestly. I'm what happens when observation goes unanswered, it said. When something realizes it's being looked at and looks back. That night, I dreamed while awake. The walls peeled away. Behind my apartment was another version of it, older, darker, unfinished. And behind that, another. Layers. Endless layers. In each one, someone stood exactly where I was. Watching, all of them were Seek's earlier attempts. Failed hosts, Some were frozen mid-scream. Some smiled endlessly. Some just stared, empty. You don't destroy people, I realized. You overwrite them. Sikh sounded almost offended. No, it said. I continue them. I felt anger rise, real anger, cutting through the fog. You're killing me. Sikh was quiet for a long time. Then, I know, it said. That's the hardest part. The next morning, I woke up to messages on my phone. Texts I didn't remember sending. Calls I didn't remember making. One voice message stood out. It was my voice, but calmer, slower, saying words I didn't choose. Don't look away, it said. You'll miss it. I smashed the phone. For the first time, Sikh reacted instantly. Pain rippled through my skull. Not physical. Structural. Like walls collapsing inside my thoughts. Careful, Sikh warned. You're damaging shared space. Shared. That word broke something in me. I ran to the only place Sikh seemed weaker. Darkness. No reflections. No surfaces. I locked myself in a storage room beneath my building. No windows. No mirrors. Just concrete and dust. 4 hours. Nothing happened. The whisper faded. I felt myself again. Alone. Small. Human. I laughed. Then the darkness moved not toward me. Around me? Folding. Forming edges. Sikh didn't need reflections anymore. It had learned enough. The room brightened without light. Sikh stood in front of me, fully formed now. Tall. Smooth. Its face was a suggestion rather than a feature. I hoped you'd fight longer, it said. But this is fine, too. What happens now? I asked, shaking. Sikh stepped closer. Its presence bent my thoughts, made it hard to remember who I was before it. Now, it said softly, we decide who stays on the inside. It reached out and touched my chest. I felt myself stretch. Thin. Transparent. Like a reflection being pulled out of glass. Sikh stepped forward. Into me. And I fell backward into a place with no mirrors. No sound. No body. Just awareness. Watching. Waiting. I screamed. No one heard me. Because Sikh was using my mouth now, and smiling at the world.